Hi, Tim Unkert here, and in this video we're going to finish up our landing page for our fictional web design company. So in the first video we built the nav bar and this hero section with the unicorn. In our second video we did these next two sections, and in this video we're going to build the contact form and the footer. Now the contact form is not going to be functional in any way, so we're just going to make the look of it. Okay, so just make that clear that we're not doing any back-end work in this tutorial. All right, so let's continue. So in the last video we finished up the so we ended the what you need section 2. So I'm just going to make a little comment that we're finishing that up. And now we're going to begin the contact us section. Okay, all right, so I'm going to create a div with an ID of contact, and that's going to have a class of BG primary. So that's going to be a background with the primary color that we defined in our SCSS file and converted to our style.css file. Okay, within that div, we're going to have a container. So we're going to have a div with a class of container. That's also going to have a class of PT5. That's going to give padding on the top of 5, padding on the bottom 5 also. And we're then going to move to a div inside that div, and that's going to have the class of row. Remember, we have to do that for our Bootstrap. And then with inside there, we're going to have our first div, and our one and only div, where the contact form is going to be a class of column-lg-4, col-lg-4, also with a class of offset-lg-4. So on larger screens, that's going to center our form because it's going to be, Bootstrap is 12 columns system. So you're going to have 4 columns from the left. You're going to start the div. That's the offset-lg-4. And then you're going to have a width of 4. All right. And then so you'd have 4 on the right. So it would be centered. Okay. Now, once we go to a medium screen, it's going to take up the entire part of the screen. So it will be centered on larger screens, and then it'll be taking up the entire part of the screen on middle screens. Okay, so within that div, we're going to have an H3, heading 3 with a class of text center. That's going to center our text. And also text light. That's going to be a light background. And then we're going to have contact us inside of there. And then we're going to close the heading 3, and we're going to start our form. All right, so our form, we're not going to put any action into our form because, again, we're not doing anything, but typically you'd have a something.php page. Method is going to be post if you were using PHP, which you would if you're doing like a content management system or something like that, or just your own PHP page. Okay, so then we have a div with a class form group and text light. Okay. You're going to have a label for full name. Okay. A class, I'm going to have a margin top of 2, a margin bottom of 2. Those are Bootstrap classes, so it goes like 1 through 5, with 5 being the largest. And the label is going to say email. No, the label is going to say name. Getting ahead of myself. I'm going to close the label tag. Okay, within that, we're going to have an input with a class of form control. ID is going to be full name. The name is going to be full name. So this is important if you're using like PHP on the back end. and you want to set this to a PHP variable, which you'd want to do. Type is going to be text, and we're going to make it required that you put in your name. Okay, and we'll close out that div. So we're going to have another div. I'm just going to go up here, take this. Actually, let's go start of the line, and we'll just yank that and then paste it. And this is going to be for the email. We're going to say, now we're going to say email. We're going to change this here to email. This also to email. Okay, we're also going to make the email required. Okay, let's go here. Oops, I don't want to do that. Let me undo that. Oops, what am I doing? Okay, I want to, again, I'm going to yank that and then paste it. I'm using NeoVim here. If you use Vim or NeoVim or something like it, you can do that. This next part, actually, what we're going to do is we're not going to have an input. Okay, so I'm going to change this. I'm going to delete this line. I'm going to go delete this word. This is going to be for the message. And then I'm going to go ahead here. Let's delete this, and we'll say something like, sorry about that. We'll say something here, leave a message. Okay, and then right here we're going to have a text area, and the text area in the class we have to have the class of form control. Okay, and we'll give it an ID of message, and I'm using Emmet to do this. So we got text with ID of message, class is form control, and we want to have a name be message as well. Again, that's important for setting our variables. Okay, and then after this div, I want to have a button with a class of BTN, a class of BTN-LG, that's a large button, class of BTN-secondary, so that's colored, that secondary color. I want a margin top of 3 and text light. Okay, and I'm going to use Emmet to expand this. Okay, and we also want to give it a type equal to submit. That's important because, you know, with PHP you might do if is set, you know, post, and then submit. So you might use that to validate, you know, that someone has actually submitted the form. Okay, so we're going to type submit in here in the button. Okay, and I'll go down here, close out the form, close out the div with the column div, close out the row div, close out the container div, and then close out the contact div. And we'll just make a note that this is the end of the contact form. Okay. All right, and so I've saved that. So this is what we want it to look like. Let's see what we got so far. We'll refresh, and we've got our contact form with our name, email, and message. Let's see. And yeah, and so we're almost there. So last part we need to do is the footer. So we're going to begin our footer. What am I doing? So we'll have a div with an ID of footer and class we have a couple of classes we want to put in. So BG secondary. I want the padding on the top to be the largest amount of padding that they offer, PT5, and then padding on the bottom of 4. I found that worked a little bit better than having them equal. Div is going to be a class of container. Paragraph, we're going to have a class of text center and text light. So we're going to center the text and have light color to it. Style. Now we're going to add something. This is some inline CSS, which technically you really shouldn't do that often, but I'm doing it. So we're going to have 0.8 rem, which gives me that small text. And I'm going to put something like copyright, and then the copyright symbol, which is the ampersand copy, semicolon, 2021, Tim Web Design, whatever fake web design company you want, all rights reserved, period there. Close out my paragraph, close out my div, close out the div with the ID of footer, and we'll just make a note, end footer. And we'll save it. Okay. And so we go here, and let's refresh. And now we've got our footer. So that's pretty much it. If we bring this down and bring it down to mobile, we'll see that we missed something in the menu. So let's fix that. Okay, so we do want to check that. So let's go on up. I'm going to use GG to get to the top of the file. And let me see here in my notes. Might have, yeah. So I typed in navbar toggle icon. You want toggler. And I think that's going to fix our problem. We're going to refresh. Want to always check it before you post it. Okay, there we go. So now we got our hamburger menu, and it works nicely. Scroll down, you can see it's nicely fits on the smaller screen. Like I said, the form goes all the way across here. Looks good. And then when we expand it out to the larger screen, it looks good as well. So if you like this video, please smash the like button and remember to subscribe and also hit the bell for notifications, as it really helps the channel grow and helps me make great content like that. Thanks for watching and have a great day.